Welcome into another edition of The Session with Londa and David. My name is David Austin.
I'm Londa Sherwood Austin. Welcome back. Thank you for being here.
Welcome in to the Independence Day edition of The Session with Londa and David. I'm dressed as an American flag today.
Let freedom ring.
And you look super cute with your red, white, and blue. The red, of course, is your shoes.
Bam.
Peep the shoe. Love it. Love it. This is going to be a fun episode, Londa. We've got a lot to talk about.
We've got a lot of ground to cover.
We're going to talk about mindset. We're going to talk about communication. And we're going to sneak in a restaurant review nobody asked for. So we've got a busy, busy show.
There's a lot of ground to cover, just like our listing at 2728 Kyle Road in Kennewick, Washington. A lot of ground to cover. It's a 2-story with a basement. The basement is a fully separate dwelling unit.
It is.
It has its own kitchen, bathroom, bedroom, 2 living rooms.
Correct.
Its own entrance.
We're not just saying multi-gen.
Willy-nilly.
Throwing it out there because there's an extra bathroom and bedroom that somebody who's in a different generation could live in. This is a legitimate, fully separate apartment.
I didn't mean to get on this, but here we are. Let me just, for a second. Sometimes I wonder, what are people thinking? I did a search recently on our MLS system, a multiple listing system, where every realtor in our area, uploads their listings. And it was a certain geographical area.
Yes.
And it was 5 bedrooms or more. And the feature that it needed to state, or have clicked, the button it had to have clicked was multi-generational, right? So this was a search that I did. 16 homes came up, and I looked at every one of them. And I'm going to look in the camera when I say this. I looked at them. So I see you like, that's not multi-gen. Just because you have a bedroom in the basement doesn't make it a multi-generational home.
Right.
How are you?
And somebody asked me, so does the basement have a kitchenette in it? No, it does not. It has a full kitchen in it. The basement has a full kitchen.
And you're referring to 2728 Kyle Road in Kennewick, which is a listing that we have available right now. So,
and Ada is going to insert the video right here.
Oh. What's $750,000 get you in Kennewick, Washington? Let's take a look. There's a lot of ground to cover. Let's start up here.
A large primary bedroom.
An ensuite with incredible views.
Bedroom number 2.
Bedroom number 3.
Bedroom number 4.
Another full bathroom.
A flex room for work.
Or play.
A kitchen with a killer view. A formal living room.
And a formal dining room. And a family room right off the kitchen.
A laundry room with a large utility sink.
But wait, there's more. A full basement apartment with its own outside entrance. And whatever this is, unmatched views from the deck.
And all this space. Okay.
Do we wait for that? I don't know what we do. You're the post-production.
Correct.
You're talking about.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I would just say I was really, really honestly, because I was searching for a client, I was really honestly disappointed in what some people are calling multi-gen home. That it was a big stretch on some of those.
Yeah.
Big stretch. So, It's kind of like when we had clients that we showed a property to, and they said, one thing I really like about this house is it looks like what we expected it to look. She said, sometimes we go and we look at houses and you walk in and you think, oh, this is not what I expected. This doesn't look like the photos at all.
Right.
And I said, well, one of the reasons ours, look like that is because I in my relationship with our photographer that we use, I've told him, like, please really lightly edit those photos. Like, I want you to use a very light hand because I don't want people to walk in and think that, like, well, this isn't what I expected.
Well, it's like some of those realtor picture glamour shots.
Oh, those are hilarious.
You know what I mean? You walk up thinking you're going to meet somebody 40 and that person is 99 years old. Holding an apple that would you like an apple?
I know. You got to update those photos. I know. Yeah.
My realtor photo, 17 minutes old. I mean, it's like right now today.
I know. And I feel like we need new ones.
Because I'm wearing my red, white, and blue America shirt today. So maybe we do need a new one.
No. Captain
America.
I don't know how I feel about that. Anyway, I just think that you should be truthful, as, I don't know, let's not be stretching it.
Yeah, is it just me that thinks truth in advertising is something we should still be sticking to? That law came into existence in late 70s?
I was just reading through, funny enough, wow, if you didn't know I was a nerd, here it is. I was just reading the Department of Licensing advertising guidelines for realtors an hour ago.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you do have to be truthful. In fact, I went in after reading through that and edited a postcard that we're about to send out because I was like, oh, this is kind of gray. I don't like gray. I like black and white. Let's make sure this is within the guidelines. And so, yeah. So I believe in it, but, I'm kind of honest to a fault almost.
Yeah. And you have to be, right? The last thing you want to do here. Okay, I'm going to give some complaints about advertising that is foolish.
Ooh,
Number one,
bitch session.
When you send me marketing for a home that you'd like to sell, don't make me click on some link to find out how much it costs.
Oh,
that makes me want to set you on fire. And when I say you, I mean you specifically. And if you're thinking, oh, David wants to set me on fire, if you do that in your listings, yes. I don't want to see that. That is ridiculous.
Freedom ring.
It's like
it's David's Independence Day.
When you look at a menu and it says market price. I don't sell that. I don't know what the market price is.
Wouldn't that be funny if we put that on our listings?
Well, it would be
market price.
Yeah, right.
We'll just make it up today, whatever we feel like.
I don't. You know what? I don't want to invest in your business. Give me a price so I can either agree or go, no, thank you.
While we're talking about it. Okay, all right. Now, while we're talking about it, another thing I hate is when you go to a website and you're looking around, specifically real estate websites, and you're looking around and you're like, oh, okay. And I'm looking at this and all of a sudden what pops up? Oh, now you've got to enter your contact information before you can see anything else.
Yeah. Hey, a realtor, if I'm on Facebook and you have a picture on Facebook that draws me in, I don't think I owe you my firstborn child or any of my DNA.
Well, here's what people do. I mean, I do it. Exit out of this just happened. Somebody shared on social media a link to a home that they had listed. Right. I clicked the link. It took me to their company website. I'm looking at the house. I get 3 pictures in. That auto pop thing, pops up that they want now my name and email or phone number or whatever.
They want your genetic profile so they can
continue looking at this property. Mm-hmm. Now, I want to be clear. There's nothing wrong with that. If that's how you do business, good for you.
Well, it's a marketing tactic, and some people are going to fill it out. Now you got a lead.
If that's working for you, great. But I would venture to guess the majority of the population does what I did, which I immediately clicked out of it, went to Zillow, and put the address in.
Okay. I don't hate that. I love the idea of meeting more people. And if that's how they hope to meet more people, God bless.
Yeah.
That's annoying to me.
It is. And so there's a philosophy of marketing that you sell the way you buy.
Right.
And so if it annoys me, I'm not going to put my clients through it because I sell the way that I buy.
Sure.
And so I never get annoyed when clients want more and more details and more information about something before they make a decision because that's the way I buy.
I gotcha.
Right?
Yes.
I'm that person who I observe from a distance.
From a distance.
And then I go and I do a little bit of background research. And then I go, look at this and I look at that and I kind of watch for a while. And then eventually I'll probably pull the trigger, or I might, that's how I buy. And so I think it makes sense if people don't buy right away.
I gotcha.
I don't know what I'm saying. I got lost in the weeds there a little bit.
Yeah.
If I'm lost in the weeds, you guys are too. Come on back to the path.
So we're back to the program. We're talking about communication.
Okay.
And it's always important to communicate openly and honestly, I believe.
Yes.
If you're putting misleading photographs in your real estate listing, you're not communicating openly and honestly. You're not.
That's true.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Look at that. You have our website.
I sure do. There it is. Sherwood Austin Homes.
Meet our team. I was just telling Ada we need to add Ada
to that.
Yeah.
Tiny, like in the corner, right
like
there.
Like just in the corner, tiny little, a tiny, minuscule little headshot right down here. Hello, Ada. How are you? Anyway, you can go to our website.
I stole that joke from Ada. She did it to me earlier. She did that to me earlier.
You can search properties on our website if you want to. Look at that.
And we're not going to capture your information, but if you'd like to give us your information, we'd welcome it.
I swear to God, if one of those things pops up right now, I'm going to lose my mind. I'm just pulling up 2728 Kyle Road.
Look at that
I just think
picture.
it's such a beautiful listing, and it needs a little bit of love.
If you're not watching this on YouTube right now, you should jump on the YouTube, fast forward to where we are in the show.
We're 12 minutes in, by the way.
There you go.
But just take a look at this listing.
It's beautiful.
It is beautiful. It is big. It's too big for us, or it would already be under contract. I have news
That's
for
true.
you.
We could run a multifaceted business out of the basement apartment. Now, here's the caveat. It's not a duplex. It has no separate meter. So it truly is just multi-generational living. If you want to put your mother-in-law downstairs in the mother-in-law quarters with her own kitchen, you can. And let me tell you something. It's hard to find that for under $1 million.
It is. This is my favorite room in the whole house. This is on the top level, the second story. It's currently used as an office and workout space. Of course, you can use it however you like, but I just think it's the coolest room in the house.
Yeah, it's got fun colors. You could make it a little dance studio. You can do anything.
Yep. Primary suite, nice and big old closet. There's the deck. There's the basement apartment. So this is, I kind of want to show this because it is so awesome.
I'm not screen recording, so it may be a little hard to see for the
they're going to go
average viewer.
I'm going to tell you right now what most people are going to do if they're listening to this. They're going to go to their phone and they're going to type in 2728 Kyle Road, Kennewick.
Oh, that's a great way to do it.
And it's going to pop up and they're going to see the photos. It'll be okay,
Love it.
David.
Come along with us.
Our listeners are savvy.
Get out your phone. Come along.
They're savvy enough to figure this out.
I'm not. So thank God you're telling us what to do because I'm lost.
But look it's a full dining room and living room with built-in storage, the walkout basement there.
Yeah.
Look at that. And then what?
Kitchen. What?
A whole kitchen.
With a dishwasher. Did you say it? I said it. Shoot.
And a bedroom. And this gigantic room you can use any way you want that does have a window but does not have a closet.
And it does not have an egress window. That window doesn't open.
There's the yard. This is on the side where you see those stepping stones. That's the private entrance to the basement apartment.
It's beautiful.
Because they have a tenant in there who rents it. So you can completely lock it off if you wanted to. Or like if you get mad at your mom.
Right, from the inside. You can say, Mom, stay in the basement. Go to your room and lock her in there.
And there's the yard. We had somebody who said, gosh, that yard, that's quite a slope on the yard. And I said, just, it was off the cuff, but it's so true. Well, that's kind of, the trade-off for the incredible views that you have. And there you go.
Yeah.
This faces east, by the way. The kitchen and the deck face east, and so you're going to get beautiful sunrises. So anyway, that's just a gorgeous...
It's a beautiful house, and on this program, we don't talk enough about our listings.
Yeah.
So I'm glad you decided to jump in there. And really, it's because of the portion of communication that I want to talk about. Be honest. Be open.
Mm-hmm.
That's all you need to do.
Yeah. I have written on my board, my whiteboard over there by my desk, just do the right thing.
Yeah, do the right thing. That's exactly right.
You know what I also have written is a quote that I just heard last night because we watched the Barbara Walters documentary, or
Yes.
what do you call that?
It's a documentary.
Okay.
Yep.
And it kind of toward the very end of the show, she said something that resonated so deeply with me. She said, mostly I just worked and didn't whine.
Yeah. Let me put that into context. As she was
Yes, girl.
coming up in the industry, over 5 decades in the industry, she felt like she was bullied at 3 separate times in her career, and
let me
they
tell
were
you,
all by male co-anchors.
She names names.
She did. She did. And what she said is, I'm the only female co-anchor on television. To whom will I complain?
Yeah.
And that's true. To whom should she complain?
Yeah.
There's no one. She's the only person in television at the time who had that opportunity.
Right.
And she said, I just have to work harder and work smarter and be more efficient.
So this is something we actually have been talking about a lot the last few days, now that I'm thinking about it, because we've been talking about just being happy for the opportunity, right? So like this morning we were talking about how Zillow leads come into our office and how they're distributed and whatever. And somebody was asking me questions about this and that. And I said, listen, I'm just happy to be a part of the thing and have the opportunity to sometimes get leads that I wouldn't otherwise have.
Right.
And then we were, I forget where we were, what we were doing. And I said, somebody was complaining about a client. And I said, I don't know. I just feel like I'm just so happy to have the opportunity to earn a living from that person working with me, that I don't have space to be complaining about them, because that literally working with me is me working with them is how I make a living and put food on my table.
Sure. Yeah.
And so
I think you were talking to me at that moment, but that's neither here nor there.
I honestly didn't remember and certainly didn't mean to out you. I just, I mean, not to say that I never complain, I do, but just thinking about that mindset of gratitude and keeping in that mindset. And I'm hearing a lot of people in our industry right now complaining.
Right.
About how the market is slow, the market is oversaturated, the market is because interest rates are high and now there's too much inventory. We've complained for 5 years, 6, 7.
Yeah.
About there not being enough inventory. Hello, here we are.
Right.
And we have lots of sellers.
Yep.
And not as many buyers. The market's shifting from a seller's market to more of a balanced market, and in some spaces even a buyer's market.
Right.
And so it's kind of like that. My grandpa used to have a saying that said, you'd complain if you were hung with a new rope, which is terrible, but the idea.
Sure that wasn't the grizzly prospector who said, you'd complain if you were hung with a new rope?
It sounds like something that the prospector would say. But the idea being like, no matter what the circumstance, you would be complaining. And I know people like that, and I can't stand to be in their space for very long at all.
Well, and that's the thing, right? Energy. You match energy.
Gosh,
so if you're a complainer, boy, I hope your customers are complainers.
Well, they probably are. You attract who you are, right?
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But let me tell you, I'm Captain Optimistic. Most of my customers are super optimistic.
Yeah.
And I don't know how that happens, But I guess you said it. You attract what you are.
Yeah, like energy attracts, right?
Yeah.
So
if you're complaining and down in the dumps and, the sky is falling is your mindset, you're going to have less happy experiences in your business and in your life.
Yeah. Yep. I'm fired up. I mean, I think we're probably more focused and more excited about business right now than we've been in a very long time, like since COVID.
Yeah.
And so I'm just very, very excited. People who still, I don't care what the circumstances are, what the interest rate is, what the, national or international politics are doing.
Sure. People
who need to buy and sell will still buy and sell. Investors are always still looking for a good opportunity.
That's right.
And which we have a investment property coming up. And stick around the next few weeks. We'll have a nice opportunity for somebody. So we're always just moving forward.
Sure.
Just moving forward, helping people. The cape never comes off. We're overstaffed by design. We're just doing the right thing, putting our head down.
Going to work.
I mean, yeah. I was just talking this morning to two of the other realtors in our office. We're sitting upstairs at the conference table, one of the conference tables, and I was like, "Hey, what are you doing?" And we ended up in a little chat, which I don't often do.
And luckily, I got a call from a client, so I got to right out of there.
Yeah. But as we were chatting, we were talking about, people who are serious have forward momentum.
That's exactly right.
Whether it's a client or a realtor, right? So a realtor or a salesperson of any kind who's serious about making their business successful puts in the work.
Well, and that's not just in sales. That's not just in business. That's in dating too. If you get this message,
it's in life.
I'm too tired, or you know what? I drove late last night, so I won't be able to come visit tonight. That's dude's just not into you.
That lady
it's a
doesn't
scam.
care.
That's exactly
that lady
right.
She's not attracted to you.
That's right.
Like it's true in anything. When we meet somebody, let's say we meet somebody at an open house.
Sure.
And they seem very excited.
Yes.
Right. And so you send them your link to get pre-approved for a loan.
Absolutely.
And I send them a link with properties that fit
DavidAustinLoans.com.
that fit the parameters of what they're looking for. And we never hear from them. They don't start the application. They don't respond to the, properties. They're not real right now.
Right.
They might be real in the future, but those people are not today buyers.
Right.
Anybody who shows up and doesn't put in the work at a clock-in job, and anybody who, like in our industry, we don't clock in and clock out, but we if you have somebody, let me just put it this way. If you've got somebody on your team that you are having to drag along, cut the line.
That's right.
Cut the line.
That's exactly right.
They will suck you dry.
And in some circles, that's great.
An employee who doesn't put in the work, who doesn't do what's necessary, a salesperson who doesn't show up, who you keep dragging along, helping them. You think you're helping, you're not helping. Now, everybody goes through a tough time. Mm-hmm. Everybody needs a little extra love. But I'll tell you what, I remember way, way back in time when dinosaurs roamed the earth, and I was a sales director in Mary Kay Cosmetics.
That wasn't that long ago.
And I remember learning, and this was even before then, like it was like 1995, I think. I read Mary Kay Ash's book, and I don't remember what it's called now, but Mary Kay Ash, she's got like 4 books. I don't know, pick one. And I remember in that book reading about, or maybe I heard her on a cassette tape. Remember those?
Possibly, yes.
Talking about, she never shared when she was going through something hard.
Right.
She would just put her head down and go through her routine.
Right.
You show up at the office by 9. These are the things you do on Monday. You go through your task list.
Yep.
You clock out at 5 or whatever it is, your routine that you do. And then once you're through the hard thing, then she would talk about it as only then as an example of or opportunity to encourage people.
Sure.
Right?
Yep.
And the idea being that, like, you can do anything if you just put your head down and put one foot in front of the other. And that really resonated with me at the time because I'm kind of that way anyway.
Right.
I mean, I remember when my mom passed away, and it was devastating to me. Devastating. But I don't remember taking time off because life does not stop for whatever you're going through. Does that mean that you shouldn't be allowed to have downtime? No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying, I don't really know what I'm saying, except that you make your own life.
You're saying. You do. And if you let the world derail you, you will not get where you're going. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
If somebody cuts the tracks, the train ain't getting there.
Yeah.
So don't let what's happening derail you.
I think, something that I've said to people for years as I've coached them is that success is not the ability to focus. It's the ability to refocus.
Oh, I like that.
Because anybody can focus for a short amount of time. Everybody joins the gym in January.
Right.
Right?
Yes.
But can you refocus and keep showing up day after day, month after month?
I like that.
That's success, is the ability to refocus when everything's going sideways.
And everything's not always a win, right? I love hearing millionaires specifically talking about business failure because they all talk about a failure isn't the end. It's a new beginning because then you've learned what not to do, and now let's do what we're supposed to do.
Right.
I don't remember who I was listening to, but it was a podcast, I believe, and the person was talking about a bad plan is better than no plan at all because you can learn from a bad plan. You can't learn from no plan.
Right.
You fail during a plan. It was Jordan Peterson. You can't learn if you're not trying.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. Execute and pivot.
Yes, that's exactly right.
Execute, pivot. Execute, pivot. Do it. Just do something.
Right.
Yeah. Anyway, I don't even know why we're so caught up on this today, but I think it's because we're just super fired up and excited. Like I'm waiting for the phone to ring so I can get to work for somebody.
Yeah. In our morning meeting, when I said to you, hey, what do you have on the agenda today? And you're like, well, do you want me to go through my entire list? No, I want a plan so that we know what benchmarks to hit throughout the day. One of the things we talked about was exactly this: communication and how people need to be more honest in their communication. And if you are honest and open in your communication, you'll be more successful. Also, like being kind. If you're kind in every situation, you're not wrong. I can't think of an opportunity in life where being kind is the wrong decision. I can't think of it.
I can.
When? It's the line from Roadhouse. What if he calls my mom a whore? Well, is she? He didn't like that. Be nice. Be nice until I tell you not to be nice.
Right. Sometimes there's a time to not be nice.
Right. And you need to tell me that because I don't know when it is. You need to be the cooler.
Sometimes the kindest thing you can do is hurt somebody's feelings.
Okay.
And here's what I mean
Rather
by that.
Rather than string them along and make them feel like everything's going to work out.
For example, if I'm at a listing appointment with a potential client and they want to sell their house for $800,000 and I can only prove a value of somewhere around $750,000, and I know that if they get a cash offer for $800,000, which is like 1/4% of the population, then that's maybe doable because there's no appraisal attached to that. But traditionally, you're going to have somebody who's getting a home loan, and an appraisal is going to be attached to that home loan. And the appraisal can only be as high as the recently sold like properties. Sorry, I wish I could get more value out of this home for you, because when you make more, I make more, and I like making more.
Right.
However, the data is what the data is. I
Sure.
can't manufacture it. And so I'll say, I can't get you where you want to be.
Right.
So respectfully, if you want $800,000 for this property, I'm not your realtor.
Right. And that's a real thing. And that happens. You know,
Yeah.
a lot of people have an idea of what they want to get from the sale of their real estate based on their life circumstances. And the world doesn't work that way.
Talk about that a little bit
It
more.
would
I
be
think
great
it would be interesting.
if it did. We met with somebody not long ago who wanted a certain number for their home because when they retire, this number will help me to be able to be comfortable for longer.
Right.
The value of your home's not based on your future circumstances. It's based on the market today.
Right.
What are people willing to pay today for a like property?
Right.
Not
And my data-
Not would it be really cool to get an extra $200,000 so you can buy a Ferrari? Sure, it'd be cool.
Yeah.
But that's not how the market works.
And
Does
my
that make
data
sense?
and my part of this story ends with the sale of this property. Not the data doesn't flow into what we hope to do with the next property.
Right. That's
Do you
right.
know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Does that make sense?
The value is not circumstantial.
But I need $100,000
Based on your circumstances.
But I need $100,000.
Or better still, I put
whatever.
$100,000 into it, so I need to get that back out. Well, I'm sorry you built a pool at the exact wrong time of the year. And here's the worst part. Pools are worth what they're worth to the buyer.
yeah,
They're intrinsically valuable.
yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
And sometimes it goes the other way. This happened recently where I saw a property that I felt like was severely undervalued.
Mm-hmm.
And when I say severely, let me just put a number out there for you. $200,000.
Low.
Yeah.
Okay.
I felt like it sold $200,000 below market value. And I felt like it did that because they didn't understand what they had. So this is the difference too sometimes in having us, frankly, is we see the market trends a little bit differently,
Right.
partly because we have a multi-generational team.
Sure.
And it helps us to see it. And we
Yes.
have a multi-generational family. We have kids who we interact with on the regular, who our kids span 2 generations.
Right.
Then we have our grandkids, who
Right.
is another generation. And then
Sure.
we're another generation. And you think like another generation. And so, like, we just see things in such a, I don't know, different kind of way. So I think the house was undervalued because it was, quote, outdated. And what they didn't understand is they had the millennial dream
Right.
home.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they didn't realize. I think the seller and their representation did not understand what they had on their hands.
Sure.
And I would have marketed that house so differently. And you know, so I feel like those people left money on the table.
Yeah.
And that made me sad.
$200,000 low. And let me tell you something. When you sell your house below fair market value, I don't care if it's an estate sale and you just want to get out down and dirty and quick and easy because you have no emotional tie to it. What you're doing if you let someone
You move the
undervalue
market.
your house by $200,000 is you shoot the bird at every neighbor living on your street. That's what you're doing.
You move the market values in your neighborhood.
Yes. Just like you don't want to be the most expensive home in a neighborhood, you don't want to sell for the least to get out quickly because every other home goes down if you do that.
Right.
I mean, it's bad.
Yeah.
BAD bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let the market decide, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, if you've got your house on the market and no one's looked at it in 60 days, well, then you're overpriced.
Maybe.
Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
No one's looked at it. Not a person has inquired. It's overpriced.
Something's wrong.
Yes.
I don't know what, but something. So.
I looked at a house today that's for sale by owner that's on Zillow. It's had 24 views for sale by owner. I think the algorithm doesn't care for...
24 in how many days, though?
106 days, 24 views.
Yikes.
I think the algorithm doesn't care for sale by owner.
Well, that's interesting because I think that the Zillow algorithm is probably, and I don't know this for sure, so don't send me a nasty email, but I think the Zillow algorithm, the whole thing is designed to get you to pick up the phone and call a realtor or lender.
Yes, but if it's for sale by owner, that's not a thing. So I don't think it gets the views.
And the reason why I think it's that way is because Zillow sells leads to realtors and lenders.
Right.
And so I think that it may be a for sale by owner on Zillow. It doesn't get as much traction.
I happen to know the house I was looking at is a great little house. So
yeah,
we need to reach out to that seller.
It's on the list.
Okay.
Anyway,
really
there you
quickly,
go. Yes.
the restaurant review nobody asked for.
Go for it.
We had a lovely double dinner date with our business coach and his lovely bride.
Yes.
At Anthony's on the river in Richland.
Yes.
And I got to tell you, the facility, spectacular. Couldn't love it more. The drinks, perfection. Couldn't love it more. The price, little high. Here's the problem, though. The food temps are wrong.
Oh.
Two people. Here's the thing. Two couples. I got the exact same thing as the lady on the other side of the table. Okay. And you got the exact same thing as the guy on the other side of the table.
We did. Yeah.
Same.
Yeah.
Our steaks.
You both ordered it medium rare.
Yes. Our steaks were supposed to be identical. Her steak was the most beautiful medium rare steak I think I've ever seen.
Your steak was trash.
My steak was the most beautiful medium well steak I've ever seen. And to me, medium well steak should be sawdust and no one should ever eat that. I don't know how it happened because they were cooked in the same kitchen, presumably by the same guy at the same time. So I don't understand that. So food temp, no matter what you tell me, to me is very, very important in the food presentation process.
That's the first time I've had bad service at Anthony's too.
Was it bad service to you?
Yes, it was.
How come, do you think?
It was terrible.
I thought the service was okay.
Everyone else at the table thought it was terrible. We all agreed.
Oh, well, I'm only looking for good.
Well, here's what happens. If you had fun with the people you're with, you think the service was good.
Well, yeah.
No.
That's not the
service is independent from
the experience.
The experience that you had with your friends.
So we had a good experience regardless of service.
I did. The service was awful.
Yeah. I don't know.
It was slow. They didn't bring things. The dirty dishes sat on the table for far too long.
I didn't even notice it. I was having such a good conversation. And I really have to dial in.
Every time he walked by and didn't pick up the dirty dishes sitting in front of the person that was kitty corner from me, we looked at each other. I mean, it was just, it was not this. Yeah, it's the first time I've ever had bad service at Anthony's.
So my restaurant review that nobody asked for. Pricing, 6. Little high.
Well, you can have one meal for 2 people at Anthony's for the price that you can get groceries for a full week for those same 2 people.
Right. That's exactly right. But again, we had a lovely dessert. It was lovely. The strawberry shortcake. I
thought it was just okay.
I'm a big fan of that.
But
it reminds me of my childhood. It makes me feel like a little kid.
And again, it was like an experience thing for you. The food on its own wasn't great. The strawberry shortcake on its own wasn't great, but the experience was fun.
Hot tip at Anthony's, get the clam chowder because that's the best thing on the menu. I got my little cup of clam chowder. That was my nicest experience.
It's like a Dairy Queen Blizzard. You can stick a spoon straight up in it.
Oh, gee, is it good. Holy clackamas.
All right, let's wrap this up.
And the drinks were great. So I enjoyed what the bartender was serving, and I enjoyed the clam chowder and the strawberry shortcake. The steak was for the birds, and I'm pissed off about it because normally I like their steak better than Bud's next door. Mm-hmm. There you go. That's my restaurant review that nobody asked for. I'd say overall, because of the company, it was a 7.5.
Cue the music.
How would you rate it?
Oh, I said let's wrap it up. I said let's cue the music.
I want your number. I want your number.
I'll give it to you over the top of the music. I would say it was probably, for me, honestly, a 6.
Okay.
I don't need to go back for a very, very long time.
Okay, there you have it. There it is. Anything else you want to add? We have 50 seconds.
No.
Okay, there you have it. There it is. Ada.
We'll just sit here and stare at each other.
Ada's going to do a good job. We're glad she was able to figure out how to insert that video into the middle of the show. I'm very proud of her.
We're assuming she's going to.
She will. It'll be great. She did. It was wonderful.
I hope everyone has a beautiful and safe Independence Day. It's my favorite holiday. And so, regardless of whatever the political climate is, just love your people and have a good time with each other.
I love that. For Londa, Joanne Sherwood Austin, the prettiest girl in the world, my name's David Austin. We'll see you next time on The Session with Londa and David.